stepping into Molly's shoes and getting to know everybody. I feel like my life is quite a bit richer having created relationships with all these people all around New York. This is very cool.
He just likes wearing women's shoes, huh?
And so you all would I just really think that the more you guys hear each other's stories, the more tools you'll have in your trick bag to deal with the stuff you're dealing with. So I'm hoping that today will be a great opportunity to see your current work in context. And I know you've been doing water coolers with Molly, but this is another example for most of you, and for some of you, it's the first time. So what we're hoping to do today, here's EB. And Mike. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, John.
Hey, Mike. Molly's on also.
Hi, Molly.
Hi, Evie. Hi, Mike.
Hi, Molly.
Hello.
I didn't expect to see you.
So we're all
How are
represented.
you?
So all eight.
Really, Mike.
All eight. Oh, go ahead. What?
I think there's a lag, Mike. I think there's a little lag.
Yeah, I've been having to go on my phone for our meetings because my internet is not. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, Mike and Evie, I was just laying out the plan for today. So what I'm hoping we can do is maybe start from east to west. And here's the thing. Somebody represent your organization, your ROC, and do 3 minutes on successes and challenges from the past year. Oh, here's John Wiltse. So let's.
Hey, John.
Hey, John.
Greetings, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
How is the road, John?
Well, we're stuck in traffic here on the Mass Pike, but it's about a half-hour slowdown around Sturbridge, so it's not exactly happy times, but yeah, exactly. It's kind of to be expected on this route.
It's still bumper to bumper. So John, we've got everybody, we've got every ROC represented. And
wow, that's fabulous. What a great turnout. Well, thank you all so much for coming and sharing your experiences and spending a little bit of your Friday evening together. I'm grateful for the opportunity to welcome you and thank you for your commitment to our communities, and hope you guys have a fruitful dialogue, and I'm happy to listen in.
Awesome.
And that's
Ends another week.
Mike Riley coming in on his phone.
Hi, Mike.
Okay.
Come over here and lay down.
So do we still have, did we lose Alice? No, there you are, Alice. Okay, so let's start with you, because you Molly was pointing out you've got visitors possibly coming. So 3 minutes. What successes and challenges have you guys faced at Adventure Lake? And you're muted. And I'm gonna put the timer on, which makes a gentle your time is over sound.
Well, to start out with, our board is pretty new. It's only like 2 years old. It was a whole board starting all at one time. So it was a real learning experience. Thanks to Molly, who was always there for us and supported us. We've been through 4 management companies. Trying to find somebody that knows how to manage a co-op. We're working with the current one. Hopefully, we're doing like training as we go, but it seems to be progressing. We started out with taking over a problem with our water system. Our whole park was just on one big loop with no shutoffs, and we ended up learning all about how water systems work and putting in curb stops and working with the water company to keep, try to straighten out a big bill that we had. But we finally accomplished that. We are every week finding out new things that happen in the park. We have right now a zombie house where someone died and left no will, and we're trying to figure out what to do with that. We have a few people that, well, one person in particular that purchased a house and has not moved in a year and a half. So, and a little bit behind in rents. And so we're trying to catch up, with that. We're in the process of getting another lawyer that's local that is easier for us to work with. But everything costs money and time, but we're getting there. Everybody's working together. We have a good board, and that's the most important thing. I think the one thing that we are learning a lot about is the vendors that we have to work with. Water, electric, sewer, everything that goes on in the park. We're finding out who to work with and who calls back and who doesn't call back and how long it takes to get something done. But we're just sticking to our guns and we're getting there. John's helping us, so one day at a time.
And
Awesome.
one of the things that took a long time, the frustration with one of the vendors was the engineer who took forever to get a report, which you guys needed for your restructuring of your loan. You guys are also refinancing. Yeah.
We finally got that, and now we're working with that.
Well, thank you, Alice. That was an amazing example of doing everything precisely within 3 minutes. I'm going to give you a lot
I was
of
watching
positive
my
reinforcement.
phone. I put the
Yeah.
timer on.
No, that was great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, it's
Look at that.
is that you, Mike? So why don't we bop down to?
Yeah, I'm trying to get.
Molly, can you help with Mike?
Yeah.
That did it. Okay, actually, yeah. So, oh, Brenda didn't show up. So there's no Brenda from Brittany Terrace. Carol, can I put you on the spot? I know we didn't talk about you doing this, and you're super new to the board. But could you represent Brittany Terrace in Brenda's absence to just fill us in a little bit on what you guys have been facing?
Sure, I'll do my best. Starting with challenges, it's what's happened is the original owners here, okay, didn't do a lot of things correctly. And, we're finding out more and more of how things weren't done right. So we're in the process with that, and like our sewer system. And, we're on the right track. We're moving forward. Things are getting done. Things are very costly. We seem to be doing okay budget-wise. But, it's a concern, the way things were done, and we're trying to get things corrected here. And we also have a home that's been sitting here for 2 to 3 years, and nobody wants to sign it off. And John, I think you also are helping us with that, to see if, you know, we could get that to be a done deal, so we could remove that home, you know, so we are in the process with that. You know, we have here, you know, a lot of water issues, you know, because we're on hills. But again, that's originated that they didn't do the proper drainaging, you know, but we're working with that. And as far as the board, like you said, I'm pretty new. There's a couple of other people that are new, but I think we're working together okay. And, you know, it's just very interesting, you know. It's very
And you guys are still waiting to hear back from the Attorney General's office for your no action letter to give you the seal of approval as a real co-op, like Pinocchio turning into a real boy. And
correct. Yes, that's
yeah.
correct. Yeah, that's another thing. Thank you.
And haven't heard from the IRS yet about
No.
your C3 status.
That worries not just me, it worries us. You know, it's a big concern. I don't know how this happened, you know, but it is what it is. And I'm hoping that we get a good outcome from it. You know, because otherwise we're going to be responsible for that.
Hi.
I believe it's 1.5 million in taxes. If I'm correct, if not, please correct me.
Yeah, so Brenda, welcome. And Carol was just stepped in to cover. Is there anything that you'd like to add? Tell you what, why don't you explain the home grant and the tax implications for everybody? I don't know if everybody,
Carol?
for the group here, we've got all 8 ROCs represented.
Oh, great. Okay.
And if you
So-
could do it in a minute.
Yeah, I can. So when when the investor Kevin decided to sell the community, he gave us, the residents, option to purchase the community ourselves, and it was at 9.5 million. Everybody understands how devastating that is. So Patty was fortunate enough that she found from New York State. And I remember seeing it on the television because so many people are leaving New York State. They were giving money for low income housing. So we were able to get a $5 million grant. So we got the $5 million from New York State, and then we borrowed the rest. So ROC is our underwriters, and what has happened, the law had changed the year before as far as tax IRS on, as I understand it, on grants. It was never, we didn't know, ROC, I guess, I don't know, didn't know. And so we found out at tax season that we were going to have to pay taxes on the $5 million grant. And so from there, you can understand the dilemma we're in. We've paid a lawyer a lot of money that we really didn't put aside for anything, and we didn't have that in the budget. And we're just waiting. I guess the good news is that IRS hasn't made a final decision yet, but it is going to be devastating for us. It'll be something that we will get through, I believe, but we basically in a position where we wouldn't be able to sell it, because then of course we would have to pay that.
And you've got some verbal commitment from the state to look in the possibility of a deferred loan, which means that the taxes will be due when you sell the community. And if you never sell the community, the taxes will never be due. So there's a possibility, you know, these guys down in Brittany Terrace might be able to dodge that bullet.
Exactly.
Fingers crossed, everybody.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
So going up the Hudson, why don't we go to Saratoga? Mike, yeah, if you could fill us in on a year, the past year for Cateros.
I love Saratoga races.
You're still muted. You're good.
How's that?
Yeah.
We're good? Okay.
You could have went to the track this year.
I
Everything's green.
know. I went every year. I put my hat on and everything with my mother and daughter.
I live right here and I very rarely go.
I know, well, that's how it is. I lived at the beach and rarely went.
Okay, so Cater Us Acres. The last year, challenges. We have more challenges than I can.
Oh, that makes us feel good, right, Carol?
Yeah. Yes,
We
we're
have
not
a-
alone.
Yeah.
We have a ridiculously high receivables amount. And when I say ridiculous, it's upward of $500,000.
Oh, God.
We found out that our previous management hadn't done any income tax for us in the last like 4 years. We were able to get most of those filed.
We've got a criminal investigation against the former management company.
Yeah, yep. Which
Oh
is,
my gosh.
Ay, ay, ay.
yeah, it's been a nightmare. And of course we bought out the mortgages that were held by the old company, which was part of the deal when we purchased. And our thought on it was we purchased them for half of what they were worth. And we thought that we could then get people to go outside of us and obtain mortgages. We offered a 25% off your principal refinance, and very few people took advantage of that. So the old management company mortgaged a number of other homes, which they were not supposed to do. That was in our contract with ROC. We were not to mortgage any other homes.
Oh my.
We mortgaged a bunch of them. Those people are not paying.
Oh,
Stuff like that. On the positive, we were able to receive a grant to put in new mailboxes, which the community desperately needed. Finished up all the new roads and the water. So we have all new water lines, all new roads. They're all complete. Just this week, Evie and I worked diligently with John to gain ownership of a home that was mortgaged and then abandoned almost 2 years ago. And the people refused to give us a release, relinquishing the home back.
That's what happened with us here with a home.
Yeah, well, we have several, actually more than several zombie homes that we own, but they're like the amount of money it would cost us to put them back in the sellable condition, we just don't have right now.
ugh. We know that money we don't have to do certain things.
Yeah, the state, you know, the moratorium caused a lot of hardship for a lot of people. A lot of people just plain took advantage of it and just didn't pay, even though they were still working. But the people that actually qualified, we helped them get their applications in, and we're now receiving money for back rent, a year's worth of back rent, and they're paying up to 3 months in advance. John is working with us to help us get grant money to help people catch their mortgages up.
Yeah, and so your county did an incredible job signing people up. I think you've got 17 applicants for the ERAP program, and the total amount coming in could be 90 grand.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's actually coming in dribs and drabs. So
Yeah.
And the zombie home, we actually found a buyer. He managed to get a hold of the previous owner, and he's signing the papers relinquishing the home back to us tonight. And that buyer is going to take that home for cash. And he's also going to give us half of what the back arrears that the old owner had. And we're going to settle for that wipe the other guy's slate clean. The legal expenses, running the guy down, getting into court, paying lawyers, I don't think we're really losing any money. So Evie and I just got the board together and went around management's obstinance to do this,
Yep,
and we got it done. So
we did. Yay.
Hey, good
I
job.
would- And I
Thank
would
you.
add, what you have in common with Alice and Venture Lake is you guys have been in forbearance. You were able to get ROC to hang on and not get any payments for a while, and Venture Lake did the same, I believe, with the state, right?
yeah, we
Yeah.
actually we were paying like interest only,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
they gave us forbearance. We're now, I think, at our 4th request for forbearance,
Is that it?
which actually the deal is worked out. We're only gonna pay 1% on the interest, and then some money on the principal.
Yep. So we are paying a little bit on the principal now. So that's a big deal for us because
Yes,
we've
it is.
been in
ROC
such
USA
dire
is
financial straits. So,
USA has been absolutely wonderful with us. I mean, we couldn't ask for a better company to be partnered with.
yep, absolutely.
And of course, we may have lost Molly, but we gained John.
Yep.
I miss Molly, but I like John too.
We all miss Molly, but John is working out very well at this point.
Yes, he is.
Yep.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he is. Thank you, John.
Thank you, John and Molly.
Yeah.
And Molly. Yeah, we missed you too, but thank you.
That's so good to hear. I know it was a tough transition, but it's good to hear that John's working out with you guys.
He
Yep.
is.
And
He
he's
really
working
is.
so
He's
hard to
great.
help us.
Yeah,
So-
He really is.
we've had trouble retaining board members for one reason or another, so that's always a struggle.
But you've got a new guy for coming forward on operation. So
What do you mean, a new guy?
a candidate for the board.
Yeah, we're adding 2 board positions, including the ops manager. We're hoping to. We have to get a quorum for our annual meeting to pass everything. But we want to expand the board, which should make it easier to get a quorum at the board meetings. So, and we just need, this person we want to bring on is incredibly dedicated, so.
Why? How many people on your board presently?
Well,
We
supposed to
have
be
5
5, but we
positions.
only have 4.
We only have 4 people on the board.
Oh.
And the original ops manager position, they eliminated it several years ago and rolled it over to a community coordinator.
So you can't get anything moving then?
Right, so we need an operations manager.
Yep.
So-
Well, Carol, that's good to know for the going forward in the future, because a lot of, I don't want to get in, here I go interjecting when I'm not supposed to. Let me know when my time is.
Well, Brenda, we're gonna when everyone's done, we're gonna break out
Okay.
into groups of 2 and 3 so that you have an opportunity to kind of
Okay.
to process everything you're hearing. So thank you, Cateros, and let's
welcome.
go west to Meadow Valley. And Deb is here to help tell us a little bit about what's going on. You're also new to the board.
I'm relatively new to the board. Yeah, it's been, believe it or not, a couple of years now.
It's 2 years.
Oh, my.
Yeah, I mean, but that still feels like it's awful new. So I'm the secretary. We expanded our board. I'm feeling very blessed at the moment, hearing some of your stories, because while we've faced some of similar challenges, it's nothing to the extent of what you folks are experiencing. And I'm feeling very, very fortunate. We have 54 homes. We just are going through the refinancing process. We were ready a year in advance, and we seem to have stalled with the state at the moment. So we asked for an extension for the final billing date from ROC, which they graciously gave us till the 31st of October. So I'm hopeful that we'll have a closing by then. Still haven't heard back. The state has apologized to our attorney, but has not come forward with the subordination letter. And I think that's what the holdup is at the moment. So other than that, we've been ready for a year to do the refinancing. We've been a co-op for 11 years. So we're blessed to have the people that are on the board. We have a new president that took over for this year, but we expanded the board to include some members at large. Thanks to Molly's suggestion at that time, we went through our bylaws and kind of fine-tuned them. After 10 years, they hadn't been looked at. And when I came on as secretary, that's kind of my thing. I like to do that kind of stuff.
I'm
So-
just doing that right now, fellow secretary here.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun, isn't it?
It is.
It is, yes. So we were able to add some people to the board that hadn't been involved before, with the idea that maybe they'll want to take on some responsibility down the road. They have voting privileges. We value their opinion, but they don't have any of the responsibilities that would be associated with the officers of the board. So hopefully that's going to get us some people that want to be involved. That's the hardest thing, I think, is getting people to want to be involved. And sometimes because I am kind of new and don't know what's happened in the past, I face a lot of, well, we never did that before, or we tried that and it didn't work. Well, when you find out we tried it, it was 9 years ago and we got a whole bunch of different people here now. So maybe we should try again to get people more in community mindset, because I try to remind people that they're a 154th owner. They have a real viable reason to want to make this place succeed. So hopefully that message is getting out there. We do a monthly newsletter. We have, for the most part, monthly board meetings. We have not had one once, I think, this year. In the summer, we took a month off. We have just recently been going through similar issue with a home that was bought by someone that we didn't even know the home was going to be for sale. And it was a guy who just wanted to flip it. And we hadn't been notified, so the process wasn't followed. And that led to a lot of kind of troubles that we needed to work through. John was very instrumental in helping us sort through what the right thing was to do and how to handle that. And we were fortunate that it was sold to a young family that is going to be taking ownership. The paperwork was done this last weekend. So we came through that okay. We were afraid we were going to have the zombie home, which we had never had before.
And you also were looking at the possibility of the home being pulled out. You'd have to pay for all the. Right.
Because all we found out was an email from a gentleman after one of our members saw it on Facebook that it was for sale. And it was like, well, we didn't know it was for sale. And so then the people who bought it wanted to try to strong arm us pretty much and say, we're just going to yank it out of there, give us permission. And we wouldn't give them permission because we weren't sure what would happen. What happens to the infrastructure when they pull it out? Who's responsible for if something breaks for the sewer or the water or the electric is, damaged or, and then when you do put another one back in there, there's the expense now of New York State requiring the pad and a different foundational structure than what we had previously in there. The home staying there was grandfathered in. So we were comfortable with that, but as it turned out, all turned out well because this young family purchased it and they will be remodeling and fixing it and plan to move it for Thanksgiving. So that will be good.
And can I point out that Deb did a form so that if anybody needs maybe that's something that could be available to other ROCs about to make sure that members know that they're aware of that section of the bylaws where you need to give 30 days notice.
Yeah, I'm happy to share that with anybody. You can make it your own. You just have to, whatever your bylaws say you'd want to put in there. But we found, although everybody has a copy of the bylaws, nobody knows what they are and what they say. So they were unaware of the process, or said they were unaware of the process. So this way, with the form, we can be consistent. We'll make sure that we can meet the deadline for the 30-day notice. We can do background checks and do the membership process the way it is intended to do. And we can get a family in here without hopefully all the hassle of waiting for a long time or ending up not knowing where we're at and having an empty home.
All right.
Can I ask a question?
Thank you, Deb.
Sure.
Well,
And
okay, we
that's-
should be moving on,
Oh,
but
maybe not.
Just a quick question. Is anybody else 55 and older community?
No,
No. Okay.
we are not.
Okay.
is that Brenda who's asking? D,
No,
aren't you?
Carol. It's Carol.
Carol, D, aren't you 55 and over at Lakeville?
Yeah, we are. I was just asking if anyone else was.
Yeah.
Just
Yep,
curious.
Lakeville and also Venture Lake.
Hey, Molly,
Oh,
I didn't know
Hi,
you were
Brenda.
there.
Hi, Brenda.
Yes, Alice also, yeah. Forgot. Okay, so let's keep going west to Dave. At Newtown, been an interesting year for you guys. Huge stuff going on over there.
Yeah, we've been pretty busy here. Main thing, we just got new sewer, new water, new roads. But we're getting the bumpers here for the roads too, to slow the traffic down a little bit. I think with the new roads, it's a racetrack now. But other than that, the management, our property manager ain't that greatest, but.
So yeah, could you explain the bumpers a little bit and the snow plows? Because I don't know if I've heard that from other people you can't have speed bumps, but you guys are going ahead and you figured it out.
But what it is it's not actually a speed bump, it's a speed ramp. The snow plows can go over these, but the speed bumps they can't, because it's all it is a great big bump. Where this actually it drives up on, then it levels out, goes a couple of feet, and then goes back down. Where the snow plows can go over that.
So that, yeah. And you guys also had a program, you had a painting grant program for, how did you guys organize that? There was something where you could do it yourself or people could come in for a fee to have it painted? How did that work?
Yeah, well, what we did is we put everybody's names in the hat and we tried to pick out the worst ones because we can only do a couple a year. We can't afford to do too many. So what we did is we take the worst ones and we try to fix them for them. If they do it themselves, they get like, what was it, 50 or $75 off their rent for a month. But if we did it, it was just free.
So there was an incentive.
Yeah, we just bought the materials.
Cool, cool. Anything else? Ray, would you like to add anything?
Now we're learning a whole lot of things because there's a lot of things we didn't know from the past. we had a lot of bad people that used to run the place, and we kind of went with what they said, and now we're finding out it was all wrong. So we're kind of like starting over. We're learning a lot of things.
Well, I'm learning with you. Very cool.
Because you're the one that we call to learn these things.
We got a couple zombie houses too we're trying to deal with. But with the court's not open, it's kind of hard.
So I'd be remiss if I didn't point out that we've got the Thursday, October 21st workshop, zombie homes and empty lots. So, okay, Dave and Ray, thank you. Moving west, why don't we go to Woodlands? And Leo, why don't you tell us about the last year for you guys? Your mute is on, so you wanna, there you go. Yeah, you're good, Leo. Yeah, you're all set. You can go ahead, Leo.
Was on?
Yeah, you're on. Yep.
We didn't have that
I
much.
want that background.
We didn't have that much going on this year. We just finished all our laterals for the water and the sewer to each home. And the biggest project we had was filling all the old septic tanks. But with all the rain we've had this year, it took us almost all summer to get them all filled. We had the maps for where all of them were located, but you know, that old thing about hindsight, I wished we would have used one of our pumpers who had the gizmo that you can flush down the toilet, and we could have located every single one, because we didn't find a lot of them that we know are still here. And then they just finished most of them this week that we know are here that we could locate. Even the utility company that we had come in and do the electrical locators and stuff, he had a dynamic machine. He used that, and he couldn't even, for the density, they do the density on the ground, he couldn't even find a lot of them. So, and now the gentleman the contractor that had the laterals still has to come back in and do the yards. So that's been my biggest problem, is dealing with our community members, because their yards still are not all cleaned up, and there's still dishes and rocks where the laterals went in. And I get millions of calls. When are you gonna finish my yard? When are you gonna finish my yard? And I try to tell them, well, they don't want to come in with their machine when it's wet, because they're gonna have to repair more if they come in with their machine and dig it up. But as you know, most people don't care. They want their yard fixed, you know? So that's been my biggest challenge for this year, is trying to console people that eventually your yard will be fixed. But now the new one's gonna be our CBG grant. We've been approved for it, but we haven't got the money yet. And we were hoping to get the money before the blacktop season ran out, because we only have the binder down on our streets, and we wanted to get the top course done, because the binder course is starting to deteriorate. It's been out for 2 years. Well, it doesn't look like we're gonna get it done this year. And the CBG grant also is for all new electrical system throughout the whole park. So it looks like that'll be our improvement for next year, will be a top course for our street, and a whole new electrical system throughout the whole park, street lights, new entrance electrical system to every home in the park, and hopefully a new mailbox system. That's our big projects for next year.
People don't realize how much mailboxes cost.
Guess we're doing good, Carol.
Yeah, I agree.
A
We have
lot,
a nice mailbox room.
a lot.
Yeah, we do.
Well, maybe Leo and Mike and Evie, you guys can, yeah, at some point you could compare notes and yeah, because there was some learning involved with the Cateros, and
Yeah.
There's always learning involved with Cateros.
well, Or how to it was a how to manage your property manager to get the what do you call it, the roof put in.
We were trying to work a deal out with the post office to help us out, but I don't think there isn't any help there.
Yeah, help's hard to find nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Leo. Let's keep going. Let's go north to Lakeview. Dee or Lynn? Lynn, are you gonna take it?
I guess so. I almost feel embarrassed in a way because we don't have nearly the challenges that a lot of you have. Our community is about 22, 23 years old, and luckily we don't have the sewer issues or the water issues. Our infrastructure is very well, maintained. It's county sewer and water and that sort of thing. But as far as our successes this year go, as most of you have heard, we got our solar farm finished and up and running and taking subscribers. And it was a 2-year touch and go thing. But we're very pleased with the way it turned out. And we're getting our roads gradually. We're getting them repaved. We just had our big north-south road repaved the other day. We're doing that on about an every other year. We're trying to get the roads done. The previous owner never put the top layer on the roads, and so that's what we've been doing. We've been filling our boards, our vacant. We had a wonderful situation last year where we had an opening for an operations manager, and during our annual meeting, a member who hadn't even moved in. They hadn't even moved in. They were working on their house. And at the annual board meeting, when we said, well, we're going to be looking for an operations manager, he just stood right up and said, well, I'll do it. We felt extremely lucky in that. And now this year, his wife has also come on to help in operations, and they're very vivacious couple, and they're working very hard to get things straightened around and make sure that everybody's needs are met. We had 3 homes sold in our community, one right after the other, all within a month, for a variety of reasons. We had 3 homeowners decide to move out, and that went very well. We have 2 empty homes right now due to members passing on. So I think overall we're doing pretty well. We don't hear too many complaints, just a few things. Trees.
And I had an opportunity to go down to your cookout with just some amazing barbecue, and Dee had put that together.
Well,
and you guys have a lot.
The social committee did it. I didn't.
Well, that was my segue.
Everything alone. But
yeah, tell us about your social committee.
It's one of our successes, I think, for the year, is that we've been able to get back to having some social events. Next Thursday, we are going to basically tour Letchworth State Park and then go for a dinner. We have a Thanksgiving dinner coming up and a Christmas party coming up. So, yeah, but it takes a village. You know, it takes a village to get things done.
How many people on your social committee?
There are 7 right now.
Wow. Okay, so that's a posse.
Everybody plays a part. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
So
I
I
wish
would
we
say,
could get 7 people just to show up for a community meeting.
We had over 30 for our picnic. We have 22, I believe, for Letchworth. And we always have a really, really good, you know, coming out for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Yeah, for our, for our annual meeting, which was just a couple of weeks back, I was kind of concerned whether or not we were going to be able to, have enough people there to actually vote on what needed to be voted on. And I was pleasantly surprised. We had the largest turnout at our annual meeting this year than that we've had since we bought the place 6 years ago.
and
Excellent.
We were stunned. We were scrambling around setting up tables and chairs because we hadn't really prepared for that many. And so, yeah.
So could I ask, the people that showed up for your annual meeting, were they people that had showed up to your social events in the past year?
Some of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But there were people at the annual meeting who hadn't been to a meeting in 6 years.
Mhm.
Correct.
So that was good to see. And, we had some new members there too that came to the meeting. So
Lynn, could you tell us what worked for your turnout?
I was just gonna ask that.
Yeah.
I didn't hear the question.
What worked to get for your turnout? What worked to turn people out for the meeting?
I think a lot of it is because people absolutely love living here.
Yeah.
And they're invested.
Yeah. And communication too.
Yes.
I'm very big on reminding people that they have an obligation to the community. If they don't do anything else, the one thing that they should do is come to the annual meeting. We try to get more people to come to board meetings. Of course, it was difficult last year when everything was online, but we're having our board meetings in person now, and we generally get about 7 to 10 members to come out to board meetings when they're in person. They don't like to do it online so much, but I think communication is a big thing. I'm the secretary. I've been the secretary I'm in my 6th year. I had 2 years on the interim board. So this is actually my 8th year. And so it's gonna be the best one.
Truthfully, I don't know what we'd ever do without her.
All right. Well, thank you, Lynn, and thank you, Dee. And so let's keep going west to Dennis.
John, can I interrupt for 1 second? I tried to call in on my phone and it told me that the meeting ID did not exist. So if I lose you guys again, can you call me on my house phone and patch me in? Is that something you can do?
I can do that, Evie.
Okay. Okay.
Excellent. Okay.
Because it took me like 5 minutes, 10 minutes to get back on
Wow. Sorry.
my computer.
So moving to Dennis, Ed Marilla.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
I know quite a few of your parks when you're trying to buy them. We've owned it for 9.5 years, and our top thing right now is refinancing. I'm learning a lot about this because when we said, oh, we got a balloon payment, they didn't tell us we have to redo everything. Conditions reports, appraisals, environmental assessments. So it's a big, it's an investment on our end that we have a lot of the money to pay for all this. So it's not going to go into the loan, but that's our biggest thing we're rolling on. I guess our worst thing is, I mean, we're keeping our heads above water with the COVID thing and the rents because we're owed quite a bit. But now I see New York State just came out with a new program that everybody should be able to get into, that your property management or the owners can circumvent the people that owe the rent and apply for it right away. We have one of our lawyers that works with us on late rents and everything. So they're helping us with collecting and our property management company also, so that we can get the applications in. And hopefully we can get paid kind of backwards, not through, it's what they owe us, that we can apply for it without going through the actual person that owes that rent. I mean, we've been working with everybody. So sending out any kind of flyer, any kind of help that anybody who gets behind. So that's our biggest challenge really, is getting the back rents collected and caught up.
Is that different than the ERAP program? Because I just saw an email from about the rental assistance. Is there a new development, or is that the?
I have to look back. I think it's the same one.
Mm-hmm.
But we can apply for it. We don't have to have, as long as we have the documentation that we are the landlords or the owners. John Naka's office and that we deal with, our lawyers, just sent it over to me yesterday.
Yeah, so it's called the LRAP instead of the ERAP. So this is it just started October. Yeah, it started yesterday.
Yeah.
And so it's called the Landlord Rental Assistance Program.
Right. So everybody that's really, if you've got in a bind, I would definitely get a hold of your property management, or look into that, and let's make sure that everybody can get their rents collected, if that's a way of doing it.
Sorry to interrupt, but I have to sign off. Sorry.
Okay, Alice.
Thanks, Alice.
Sorry.
Good to see you.
Okay. So I'll look at that LRAP program and send out more information for everybody over the next few days. That's very cool. It seems like, thanks for. Anything else, Dennis, that you'd want to say?
Our elections are coming up. We have a board of 9 people. We have 5 executive positions and 4 at-large members, which we just changed. We used to have 7 board members a couple of years ago, and we have people that want to be on the board, so we upped it to a 9-member, which is our limit on our bylaws. So we're in pretty good shape. Hopefully we get through the last of this COVID thing, and we get the rest of the rents, and our loan comes through, and we're working with ROC, and we're our zombie. We really never had in 9.5 years any homes that we've kind of people that were trying to skip out, let's say, we've talked to, and they signed the homes over to the park, and they were in pretty rough shape, but we've sold them for maybe $1,000, $500. We've sold some of them, and we've even given them free 3-4 months rent to renovate them, so that we could keep these homes. They weren't that they needed to be demolished, but they did need a lot of TLC. So we've been lucky in that end. I know everybody's talking about zombie homes, but we try to stay on top of, if we know, or the neighbors. I mean, that's the nice thing. Our community, everybody, if they see something isn't right, they'll let the board know, and we'll get a hold of that person and say, hey, what's going on? Or are you selling the house? What do you if you're planning on just leaving and you owe us $5,000 in rent, we will, so we've had most of the homes signed over, which is the last few years we haven't had that problem. But then the people that bought them remodeled them, and everything is, we haven't really had that issue where a home is vacant that we had to go to court.
Very cool. Thank you, Dennis.
Sure.
So why don't we break out into 2s and 3s? and take, Molly, what, 3 minutes and come back? Or yeah, 3 minutes and just come back and wave to each other. So let's do that.
Is there any particular topic for the breakout?
Is there anything that just, yes, say hi to each other, but also, is there anything that you would take, that you heard today, that you would take back to your board? Any new learnings? So yeah, and off we go.
Well, you know, ladies are able to just order off the
Boy, I'm
menu.
in another
what they
break.
want.
I'm in another breakout session here.
So, no, I think that's a successful thing for us.
It sounds cool. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
So what happened? They put us all in back together, or are they transporting us?
They're all back
we're all
together
together
now.
again.
Oh, okay.
I was right in the middle of explaining something too.
Yeah. I was asking how do you get the trust? You know, board members are volunteers, but you know, the residents, they think they don't trust us. You know, that's a common denominator we've decided in our little group. And therefore for Brittany being, you know, we're only I think we're getting to our 3rd year or near it, or finishing. We don't get committees going. We're lucky we can get board members. We have 2 positions open, or 3, and we'll be lucky if we get them, and yet they don't trust us.
Yeah, we've got that same situation here.
How big is your community?
We have 70, it's small, 76 residential homes. We have 70 acres to grow, but we don't have any money. You know, we have 70 acres to grow, but we don't have the money, because we've got to do the infrastructure. And we're working on infrastructure that was pieced together by the previous owners that were here for numerous decades.
Well, so that answers the question that I was going to ask the group, which was what are some workshops that we can do in the future? So we can either do a water cooler or a training on how to develop trust, and I think maybe I would add the concept of identification, so that people, you know, to push back alienation. But it sounds like you're talking specifically about people wonder. Are you saying that the people in the community don't trust the board to do the right thing?
In our community, BT, I'm talking from my perspective. I've noticed since, you know, I've only been here since 2018, so I'm a newbie. I have noticed that there's people that have been in the community forever. They were with the old owners. Their last name were Keynes. Well, they owned this for many, 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 many years. It was a trailer park. Very strict owners as far as rules, and people, you know, followed them because they had no choice, is what I gather. But with the changes, people are scared, I think, you know, they're fearful. They're fearful that our rents are very low. They only pay $640 a lot. So this is the really sad part. And this was another question I had. As people I've seen since I've been here, there's been 2 or 3 families, and it could be more, because I really don't know that many people, that they lost their spouse and they had to sell their place because they can't afford it. They probably lost the Social Security from their spouse. So needless to say, with getting ROC, we've kept the lot rents down, but of course they're anxious. You know, that's the roof over their head. So as far as not trusting the board members, they're quite open, but they're fearful, rightfully so, you know, because they had an investor they trusted, Kevin.
Did nothing for us.
Right. And I didn't know him. So when I came in, I thought he was great. And, you know, then within not even a year, he was gone. So Well, that answers the question, Carol. If you had an investor in here that that didn't do anything for you, didn't do any good for the community, then what would you think of anybody else coming in? So, that's I would call it a stumbling block. And then again, with
Brenda,
that in mind, I think
I
you're doing
interrupt?
quite well.
Could I interrupt? So are you saying that the people in the community don't understand what it is to be a co-op?
Probably.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm sure they,
All right. All right. Well, we can talk offline because that's training. That's just like having me and other folks come down and, that's like, what is a co-op?
That would be awesome. I think that would be a real benefit.
Where are they? Orange County?
Let's
go.
7:06. We've gone over. I want to thank everybody for showing up. We've got a ton of workshops coming up. This issue of trust is also going to be on November 18th about Beyond the Nastygram, about cooperative agreements. And so this is a different way to develop more trust in a community and get people to see themselves as
Brenda and Carol, they're in the same park. Brittany.
Yeah, Trish, if I could finish. It's a way to, I'm going to use a long phrase, mutually interdependent. So I think that's
Very
a goal.
nice.
We should be pushing for that. And so Jeannie Wright's going to help us with that. So thank you, everybody. And
Thank you.
Thank you,
John.
night.
Thank you.
Molly and everybody.
Thanks
Meeting
everybody
Very
for coming.
helpful. Thank you.
Good to see
Bye,
you.
Molly.
All right. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Yeah, everybody
you.
enjoy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye now.